Welcome, everybody. I'm Josh. We are on the wrong lead. We actually have people today. It's not just going to be me and Mark. So Mark is going to be the last person to introduce. He's going to be on the sidelines while I introduce our, I believe Evil Bob Dole said he was finally hoping that he'd be making this comeback here because he finally wants an opinion he can trust. And that's Mr. BD Horse Player here, Brian. Brian, how you doing?
I'm good, Josh. Man, it feels like it's been forever since I've been on here with you guys, and real life gets in the way, as we all know. So it's fun to be back here and really break down a 5-horse race for Evil Bob Dole. Give him some opinions here.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll probably talk about 6 horses in that 5-horse race. So, and we'll pick them all to win.
Actually, I'm going to pick them all to show. I'm going to go with a 7-horse show parlay today.
Oh, nice. I'm sure that'll work out great. Speaking of getting horses to show, what's up, Mark? How are you?
How's it going, Josh? My horse racing luck has not been the best, so hopefully I can give us some good ones here. Although the last, what was it, 2 shows ago we did when it was when I gave away a couple of decent ones, but
Yeah, it was funny. I was thinking about this last week. I gave out a couple of nice horses. I think I gave out like an 8-1 winner on that turf sprint, and then gave out the other Chad in the other race, and I had like nothing to show for either of those opinions, which is great. But yeah, it's just it's been a weird couple weeks. I always forget how bad I am at Keeneland. Like I get real excited. I get real excited for Keeneland. Like I get hyped up because Caleb won't shut up about Keeneland for like 4 weeks before the meet starts. He talks about how much he's excited for Keeneland, and then what happens? He fucking starts winning money at Oak Lawn, and I barely even seen him play Keeneland. So I don't know. I gotta stop.
By about the third day of Keeneland, Caleb was over it because he couldn't win any money there. So and it was rigged, and he hated it, and then he moved on.
Yeah,
you got to remember though, Keeneland's that boutique meet in the spring. The turf is different. These horses are coming in from Gulfstream Park. They've been running on concrete turf for the last 4 months, and now you got the Midwest soft turf. It's a completely different environment, and it sounds good until you're down that first $1,000.
Yeah. Although oddly enough, I think I've done pretty well on the turf races. I had that nice exacta today with that Luis Saez horse that went off at apparently that everybody knew was going to win. I bet it at like 10-1, and he went off at like 5-1. And then Murphy started doing some math on the horse. The horse was like the second choice in every single horizontal, and was like 5th choice on the board. So apparently everyone knew that horse was going to win. But cashed a nice little exacta there. We do have some people in the chat already. Mr. Stephen Fox, Mr. Evil Bob Dole saying that we need to be realistic. It'll take the whole show to cover a 5-horse field.
He's not wrong.
Yeah.
Well, no, because we're going to talk about a half sibling to the dam mare, and we're going to be money.
Yeah. And John Massey saying, are they going to be able to get that starting gate off the track for the finish? I'm guessing, are they talking about your picture there?
I'm talking about Sportsman's Park.
Well, you're not getting that gate off the track anytime soon. That track is a Walmart, I think, now.
It was so they used to. Hawthorne is like the last track where they run harness and thoroughbreds on the same track. But Sportsman Park, I'm pretty sure they used to run horses and then cars on that same track, didn't they?
They repurposed it for a little while.
Oh, okay.
It was, they stopped racing horses there in 92, and they started racing cars there in 99 or something like that. And it's definitely different. I can't blame them, and then obviously the Joliet track got built up, and that was the end of Sportsman Park completely. But, I know where that power station was over in Cicero, and it's just one of those memories when you see the picture, you're like, man, I remember that.
Is that power station still there?
It's still there, but I believe it's just vacant. It's just sitting there.
Like that freaking that building, man. Like it's just like that. Well, I think there's probably a couple of power stations that look exactly like that, but man, that's like Southside Chicago, like
through and
just,
through. There,
yeah.
you got the one over there by Horseshoe Casino right on the state line.
Yeah,
Looks the exact same way.
I might be at Horseshoe Casino in about not 8 days. I think I might be making a little trip up there for my birthday, but we'll see. Caleb is going to be joining us at some point. I don't know what happened, so hopefully he's just digging extra deep for some winners here for us, or maybe he's in the middle of doing something that will help get the creative juices flowing. But he'll be joining us in a little bit. But I did want to go ahead and, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Kentucky Derby, and I guess we can start off with that. We are about what, 3 weeks out, 2 weeks out, 2.5 weeks,
roughly 3. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And so I know there's still some back and forth on who's going, who's not going. Both Caddo River and Concert Tour, we're not really sure what's going to happen with them. But let me see if I can go ahead and share my screen here. I do have the Derby PPs, the early entries up here, and I think they got like 27, 28 horses or something listed in here. So just wanted to talk a little bit some early predictions here. Do you guys think we're going to get a full gate of 20?
Yeah, there'll be a full gate of 20. I'd be surprised if there wasn't.
I'm convinced this is going to be the first year that we have like 18. With a couple of Thursday scratches and a couple of owners not putting up money.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm wondering if 20 enter, but we always have that 1 or 2 or 3 horses that get injured during training, get a fever, or whatever. But I'm just wondering if they're going to get 20 entries. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting, especially if both Concert Tour and Caddo River don't come in. John Massey's already out here saying 20 starters and scratch to 18. I would be fine with it. Like 20 starters is cool and everything, but I think at least as long as you get at least like 17, 18 horses, I think it's enough to help juice up some of those verticals and stuff like that. But there he is. There he is. Let's move him to the top. Let's put the good looking guy at the top. Caleb. So we couldn't move on to Keeneland. We couldn't move on to Keeneland until you got on. So we started looking at some of these early Derby PPs here. But I wanted to get your thoughts. I know we asked I asked the other two guys how many starters you think we get for the Derby. You think we get 20?
It's tough.
Or entries. We'll say entries, okay? Because I don't want to say, hey, okay, we got 20 entries, and then 2 horses spike a fever or something, and we only get 18. Right. Do you think that we get the full 20 that actually enter?
I'm gonna say I think we do. I do think there's a lot of horses that currently have the points to get in that probably are going to skip. I've heard of at least 5 or 6 horses that could go but are deciding not to. But I think there's enough horses in that 20 to 25 or even 28 range, like a King Fury or a Get Her Number or whoever, Dream Shake. I think they probably end up sending. So I think we probably do. I mean, maybe it's like 18 or something, but I'd be surprised to see much less than that.
Who gets the lead in the Derby at first call?
Well, it depends who goes, I suppose. But I would have to think it's going to be Rock Your World is my guess. I don't think the horse has only raced on dirt once, and he was in the lead the whole way, setting some pretty honest fractions. I think he has the speed to make the lead, and I don't think they want to experiment with how this horse handles kickback in the Kentucky Derby. So I think this horse gets the lead, even though he can rate. I mean, the only kind of true need to lead horse that I can think of is probably Caddo River, and I'm not even sure if he's going to send.
Well, see, I was kind of thinking. Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say, I don't know. Caddo River and Concert Tour. I don't know if either of them are going, but yeah, what were you going to say, Brian?
Looking at Hot Rod Charlie, the only race, the last race he won with Rosario aboard, he was wire to wire. You go back to his other victory back in October, he was second. So, I think the strategy with Hot Rod Charlie is going to be right there on the lead, if not going for the lead. I think it depends who draws in.
Isn't there also a case to be made that they might send? Well, I don't want to say send. That's probably the wrong way to put it. But put Medina Spirit on the lead, just given the fact that he did not run well from off last time out. Isn't there a chance to say that and he's got just as much speed as somebody like a Hot Rod Charlie does? They theoretically could go with him, make him forwardly placed, and make everybody else have to pass him.
Yeah, I agree with that take, Mark. I think he, as a function of tactics, will probably get ridden a lot more aggressively than he was in the Santa Anita Derby.
Yeah, I think that ride was a little odd in the Santa Anita Derby. You wondered, did they think they had more horse than they had, or were those not instructions, or did he have a bad day? I think we all expected a little more out of him than what we got, and I expect him to be much more forwardly placed in that race too. So, who knows?
Yeah, I'm getting more and more interested in Medina Spirit again, and I feel like this is New York traffic all over again. But
he does sort of feel like Baffert's like JV squad kind of horse. He does feel that way. He's cheap. He's got an unsexy pedigree, but the horse seems sound. He just he gets out there and he runs his race, and he's a hard horse not to like, even though he is trained by Bob Baffert. So yeah, it wouldn't. I think he's the kind of horse that could improve a lot based off his last effort and might be overlooked a little bit.
Didn't we say that last year about Authentic though too?
No, I think last year was 1,000 Words was his JV squad horse. Mm-hmm. I think Authentic was kind of his I don't know, what's between JV and varsity, like his backup varsity horse maybe.
That was a weird year because he just kept on losing horses and just finding extra horses. Who was that horse that just came out of nowhere that everyone thought was going to win a Travers, me included?
Was it? You're not thinking of Uncle Chuck, are you?
Yeah, Uncle Chuck, man. Oh man, Uncle Chuck.
I would not like to think that you thought he was going to win the Travers.
Oh, I had him on tickets, man. I thought we were going to get Arrogate all over again. But yeah, I don't know. This is actually going to be a fun Derby. I think. I know. Essential Quality is going to go in as probably the pretty heavy favorite. If I remember correctly, the overseas have him at 5-2 ish. I think right now.
I would think that makes sense. I would expect that 2-1, 5-2 range. He's improving commodities, undefeated. Really hasn't put a step wrong as of yet. Seemed to handle the stretch out in the bluegrass quite well. No reason to believe that a little more stretch out here is going to hurt him. And I don't think there's a reason that in my book, he's your most likely winner.
It's funny because it depends on who you talk to, because I feel like the horse racing community is pretty divided down the middle, with half the people saying, Essential Quality is a lock, it's an open and shut case. And then half the other people saying this is the most wide open Derby in years. And it really just depends because, if Essential Quality doesn't win that bluegrass, it truly is one of the most wide open Derbies. But given how he's truly, done nothing wrong, I can see both arguments.
I think it's funny. One of the arguments you keep hearing on Twitter is about Essential Quality and the, not really improving what you'd expect for a 3-year-old based on what he did as a 2-year-old. And, to take the flip side here, I believe Essential Quality has done just what he had to do to win on the fields he was in. And this horse could be sitting on a huge number, and see that progression that you're expecting to see from 2 to 3. I don't think the horse has had to dig in too deep. That last out, highly motivated, challenged, and Essential Quality fought and passed him. But I'm not quite sure we've seen the best that Essential Quality has to give us yet.
Yeah, and John Massey in the chat saying that there's the half who don't believe Cox will be able to have Essential Quality ready like Baffert. Essential Quality has done pretty much everything that a Derby horse needs to do, with the exception, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong. I know I had the document up, but I think I closed it on accident. He hasn't had a 100-point buyer yet, right?
that's the biggest argument against essential quality that people are making.
But I think he ran like a 98 or a 99. I mean,
the only 100 was Rock Your World, I believe.
yeah, Rock Your World.
Right, but he hasn't had to run a triple-digit buyer to win. Why take that out of him when you don't need it?
Yeah,
You know, if this horse was in Santa Anita, I think you see on that track, probably puts up a triple-digit buyer, and we're not even talking about this.
And you know what? We're gonna kind of toss last year out of the window, but it feels like this year, and maybe I'm just like crazy, and maybe the other years were weird, but it seems like with the exception of Rock Your World, you know, a lot of these horses are coming in with some form. You know, they're coming in with some form. They're coming in with some races under their belt, and they're not just like winning that one race, and they're like, okay, we're good. Like we're not gonna run anymore. They're not doing the Justify where they, you know, made an allowance, you know, stakes race, and then, hey, let's race. Your fourth race is the Kentucky Derby. So you would think that we'd get some nice established, like once we get entries, I think we're gonna have a really solid pace picture. I think as opposed to some of these years where it's just like, okay, half these horses have only run like 4 or 5 times. So,
you know, I think that's why people say this is the most open Derby in years, because none of these horses outside of essential quality could have taken the 3 or 4 race route right to the Kentucky Derby. These horses needed to run. I mean, they had no points. You know, they lost the Santa Anita Futurity or whatever it was in the fall. They had to come back through. You know, it's been a very weird year for points. And, you know, if Life is Good is on the trail, that horse probably does the, you know, Justify route, races 3 times, and the 4th starts the Kentucky Derby. I think that was the key ticket for Baffert. And now you see the rest of the racing community scrambling to get their best horse into the field, into that gate. Because as Country House has taught us, anything can happen.
Why? Like seriously, man. Like what? Like you woke up today and you chose violence, huh?
I didn't chose violence. I quoted Country House because I have a huge bomb price that I like in the Kentucky Derby that reminds me of Country House. And when we get to that point, I'll tell you.
Yeah. So Jay's out here saying essential quality, known agenda, only 2 that can get the distance. Chase, our boy Chase, is I don't know, either making a dent in the couch or just lying down in bed, but he thinks that essential quality will be ready. I'm not really worried about essential quality being ready. But all right, Brian, well, you've teased us. Who's your bomb? How far down do I got to scroll?
I want you to go down to number 18. And if this horse wins, I will join Todd Pletcher in sainthood.
Oh, nice.
You guys can all laugh. Did you watch the stakes? Did anybody watch the replay?
Dude, I was all over this horse. And then that fucking ran into all that trouble.
Yes, watch the replay. That horse was loaded. What a horrible ride Corrales gave that horse. And, you know, it's going to be 30-1, 50-1 in the Derby. And this is the kind of horse that I love essential quality. I'll put essential quality on top, but I will have sainthood underneath in an exacta that might pay $800.
It's funny. I was looking through the like probables and stuff like that for the Derby, and I only had names, no PPs, and I was like, who the fuck is Sainthood? And like, I never looked him up. I just assumed, I thought it was like one of the Japanese horses that ship in or something like that. Like, didn't have a clue.
Yeah, it was a Todd Pletcher horse. Went off at like 11-1 and in the stakes, and I thought Corrales gave him a fine trip. He ran into trouble. I forgot who he bumped into. Watch that replay, but yeah, I thought I was all in on Sainthood because, I mean, at Turfway, Corrales like is the guy you want riding. I mean, with the exception of, you know, whoever comes in, like you get like Jose or you get one of the Ortiz bros that come in and they ride, and that's fine. But I mean, of the local jocks, Corrales is the guy you want, and Corrales could have ridden any of these horses, and he went on Sainthood, the slightly raced Pletcher horse, and I thought he was going to do it.
You know, but I think it's funny. Bobby just said that he thinks this is going to be like the wise guy horse where everybody saw that trouble trip, and he's probably right. I'm not for me to see the trouble trip, and it was that obvious. But hopefully, with the Derby being what it is, and people loving Baffert, we'll still have a price there because, well, that's the Derby.
You do realize what Pletcher's stats are in the Derby, right?
I don't care. You realize what Country House's stats were going into the Derby, or what his racing career was after the Derby?
Once again, dude, what you chose violence. You chose violence, huh?
I just wanted to point that out.
So, Known Agenda is Todd Pletcher's highest point earning horse in this race. It's going to be a son of Curlin, so distance, is not going to be a problem. You guys think that this horse has got a shot in here? No.
I was very vocally against this horse when he won the Florida Derby, so I feel like I have to say no right now, just because I'm not going to admit that I was wrong. But a lot of the big contenders kind of flopped after that Florida Derby. I mean, Concert Tour, Caddo River. You had a couple people that are going to skip the Derby. I still don't like Known Agenda. I still don't. I think he just beat. He won a slow race. That's kind of how it came back. But he's not as much of a throwout as I probably initially had him. After first pass. I mean, I still have him probably as my, fifth pick in this field, maybe. But I wouldn't really talk anyone off him at this point either. Yeah, I hate him as a second choice in the futures, though. I'll tell you that.
I really want.
He's second choice in the futures.
He is now.
I
think he's essential qualities. What 4-1, 3-1?
It's like 7-2, and then
Known Agenda is 7-1. I saw.
7-1. I would take if Rock Your World is anything over 7-1. I mean, I would bet a ton of money on that. Are you kidding me?
You want to catch a Southwest flight down to Vegas, Josh?
Hey, let me pull up my Circa app. Maybe see what he is on there. But yeah, wow. I wouldn't think that Known Agenda would be second choice. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Bovada's a pretty square book for horses, but Rock Your World, Known Agenda are plus 600 and plus 650, so about the same.
Okay.
Can I be honest? I'm not a big. I like Irad. I don't like Irad in the Kentucky Derby. I don't like Irad in the 20 horse field. Just me being me. It seems like some of the strategies and tactics he employs. I mean, yes, he's the hottest jock, the best jockey probably, but a lot of the tactics he employs in a 20 horse field, he's inviting trouble to get in his way.
You can't herd a 20 horse field. Is that what you're trying to say, Bri?
Well, no.
Sure, try.
Not unless you have 17 brothers.
You know what? You know how you could herd that field? If you had that Keeneland pony that's like a double wide trailer, that fucking big ass, that pony, yeah, you could herd a couple horses that one.
That pony is a unit.
How come I'm
Chungus, big
Chungus.
How come the first time I come back, you've got to talk about the fat ass horse? Are you trying to tell me something?
John Massey's asking about Vegas books offering Derby futures, and yeah, Circa is. I know Circa's kind of come out firing as like they'll pretty much take almost any kind of action. They'll take a ton of action. They'll take more action than a lot of other books will. I think like on the Masters they were taking like $100,000 on some bets. So.
And they're not dumb. They know sports wagering's taking over, and they're gonna offer it to everybody for now.
Yeah, like I said, if you guys haven't been out there yet, the book there is beautiful. And even if you're not in the book, you can get a burger at one of the places, or just sit upstairs and play video poker, and it overlooks the book. It's freaking awesome. So, if and when you get out to Vegas, definitely check it out. But yeah, so Brian, I know you kind of gave a bomb. Mark, is there any long prices you're looking at keying underneath or anything? No, I know you're just hey, I just want to be live to 2 horses.
I need 3 horses to get through this race. So yeah,
you need 3 horses.
Yeah,
so
I just need 3, and they're going to be your 3 favorites.
Who's your A, Mark, so I can toss them?
Essential Quality.
So you need Essential Quality, Known Agenda, and I thought you hated Known Agenda.
No, I don't like Known Agenda. Essential Quality, Rock Your World, and Hot Rod Charlie are the 3 I need.
Okay. Hot Rod Charlie, I thought I saw was closer to 8-1 on the offshores, but
he is.
Yeah. There were some books. I don't remember where I was looking. Let me pull up my Circa Sports app. While I pull those lines. But what, Caleb? What were you? Was there anybody like any big prices underneath? I know everyone likes playing the Derby Super, even though it's still going to be 10 cents this year. But was
Yeah.
there?
Derby Super High Five though, which should be is $1.
Yeah,
Were there any?
two I'm interested in. One of them I think probably will be a Wise Guy horse, and both of them actually aren't even in the field right now. But I expect that they will. I don't even know if they're going to point to the Derby or not. But Bezos, I've liked this horse. I've liked everything he's shown at fairgrounds. He closed in every race over a track that is just not kind to closing. And I don't think he can probably win the race, but there's more speed than maybe in a normal year this year. So I think that he's definitely the kind of horse that clunks up for third or fourth at a big price. And for a lot of the same reasons, I like King Fury as well. Again, he needs some help to get in, but he's the kind of a late running horse that I think looked really good in the Lexington. That race did totally fall apart. But I'd be more interested in Bezos, but maybe a little bit of King Fury.
Who's riding Bezos? Do we know?
It says Marcelino Pedroza, but I have no idea if that's legit or not.
I think that's just because he was the last one to ride.
Yeah, that's my guess.
I thought it was funny. I just looked. Bobby had mentioned he liked the. Oh, I just lost it. Never mind.
So I'm looking at the Circa futures, and Known Agenda is your second choice at plus 650. Hot Rod Charlie is currently 12-1.
Yeah, it's a great price in the futures. He's getting no respect.
Yeah, plus 1,200. They have Highly Motivated at plus 1,000. Essential Quality is currently as 3-2.
How about my
plus 270?
What's St. Hood sitting at?
St. Hood's probably all the way at the bottom.
I got him at 45-1.
See,
60-1, yeah.
Oh, I could totally do a Southwest flight for $89 for that one.
Anyone have any interest in Midnight Bourbon? That's kind of the one I keep going back and forth on personally.
I did before his last effort. His last effort kind of just like, I don't know. I actually really liked the three horses out of Fairgrounds. I thought that one of them was going to make some noise, and then Hot Rod Charlie came in and just fucking mowed them all down. I thought either Midnight Bourbon or Proxy were going to come out of that race and be kind of like my mid to high price Derby horse. Now Proxy's not going, Midnight Bourbon's got enough points, but you see, I just don't know. Like, does the horse need the lead?
That's what I was afraid of. And with Money Mike on Midnight Bourbon, I don't want a horse that needs the lead.
So, yeah, I thought that one of these horses was going to come out of Fairgrounds, and I was going to be interested in, but I don't think I want any of them. Maybe Hot Rod Charlie a little bit. Honestly, I think at this point I'm pretty sold on just on Rock Your World, and that's mostly just because looking at the futures prices. They got Essential Quality pretty much as a sure thing at Circa, so I don't know.
See, if there's going to be a 3-year-old that I think is going to bounce, and I haven't seen the thoroughgraphs, I think Rock Your World after that last big effort, first time on surface, Caleb could probably answer this one. Coming into this race, you'd expect Rock Your World to have a regression here, right?
I need to see the figures. I've only really seen the Bauer in time form. I'd have to kind of see the Sheets figure, but I would tend to, agree that there's a better chance he goes backwards than forwards. It's their kind of rule of thumb is never expect a 3-year-old to bounce until they do, but and there's reasons to be optimistic, first time on the surface, but I would think a step backwards more likely than a step forward, personally.
Yep. Luke says that Mandaloon's got a huge chance to bounce back. He trains the best out of the 3 Cox horses and ran a huge number in the Risen Star. Yeah, I just don't know what happened. Like, maybe he's maybe finally Into Mischief is going back to being a miler, because maybe that added 16th just took it out of him. I don't know.
There's a lot of Derby history that you want to finish well in your last start, in order to be a legit threat to win the Derby. I mean, it's just, statistical data more so than anything grounded in science. But, 6 by 11 in your last Derby prep is not usually a good recipe for going into the Derby. But I agree. I mean, he does look like a promising horse if you toss the last race.
Yeah, Elliot's asking about Bauer. I think they've already said that Bauer is not going. I think they're going to aim for the Preakness and maybe the Belmont. Bauer was a horse that I was interested in keying underneath. I think the horse is just one of those, closers that'll suck up for third or fourth in the Derby. And then John Massey saying that Bauer has auto qualified for the Preakness and might skip the Derby. Yeah,
Bauer reminds me of Will, the kind of horse that everybody wants to see run. And you look at how the horse is done. The wins came on turf and then artificial at Golden Gate. I think Bauer is the type you see him as a 4-year-old running turf races. You're like, holy crap! Why didn't they do that earlier?
Yeah, the one I'm interested in, that is going to be a little bit of a price, but it's more of I'm interested in later on, and I think Caleb probably is going to agree, is Soup and Sandwich. I think he's a really interesting horse, very lightly raced, seems to be getting better, but I sort of want him more come Belmont time, not sort of in the Derby, but I could still see him sucking up and getting a piece.
So Into Mischief going 1.5 miles.
Well, Preakness or whatever later on in the year, I guess I should say. I meant more Belmont time frame. I want to see what a race or two more. I want to see him in a couple months.
Yeah, I thought his Florida Derby was really good. I thought he ran really well there. We'll check back in 2 weeks when we get we get actual final PPs, and we'll really take a deep dive into this, but I thought it'd be fun to just talk a little bit, especially because this weekend, there's not a lot going on, huh?
Nope.
I was just kind of looking to see what was kind of going on this weekend, see if there's anything. I mean, we were going to talk about Oak Lawn, but then I figured that would be doing you a disservice, Caleb, because apparently in the past couple of weeks you've figured Oak Lawn out. So I figured we'd wait for you before we talked any Oak Lawn. So we're going to start with a couple of races at Keeneland. We are going to talk about the graded stakes race, the Elkhorn, because I thought it was an interesting race, and there's a bunch of horses that Caleb hates in there. I did want to talk a little bit. I wanted to talk about this optional claiming race here. It's going to be race 8 at Keeneland. It's an optional claiming 80,000 N3X here. And, I was really interested because I saw 2 horses in here that should be pretty familiar names. The 6 horse, Mighty Heart, won 2 legs of the Canadian Triple Crown last year, failed in the turf leg, but came back to the Ontario Derby and ran, a decent number. Did lose the Field Pass, who is a pretty decent turf horse for Mike Maker. And then there's a couple of horses, Belichick and is it Malibu Mambo? He lost to, but his figs, at least in this race, seem to stack up pretty well. And he's actually your second choice in this race. The morning line favorite, South Bend, 5-2 for Bill Mott and Joel Rosario, who we saw run in the Travers and the Kentucky Derby last year. And then for some reason, they decided to try this horse on turf in the he'd already been running on turf, but they went back to turf for the Belmont Derby, and he just kind of regressed the end of the year, and now you get him back at 5-2 after 2 just awful efforts. So I thought that there might be some value in this race. Mark, how did you see this one? You told me before we started this, and I quote, "I hate you for making me look at this race."
Yeah, I spent more time handicapping this race than I spent on the other 5 races we're going to cover combined. This race is just absolutely brutal. There's a million different ways you can go in here. I understand South Bend is the morning line favorite, but what the hell happened to that horse after the barn change? Ran the big Travers Fig and has come back and run a clunker. Then Bill Mott tried to throw him back on turf, ran a clunker there. Feels like something went south. There's something wrong. There's a problem here. Could win, sure, off the layoff, but and obviously in a massive drop in class, but just it feels like there's something off or something went wrong, and they're fishing and just trying to figure out what this horse wants to do. And the other one that was really short in the morning line that I was kind of shocked at was Top Seed, the 7. Shig McGahee, fairly lightly, only 5 starts as a 5-year-old, fairly lightly raced horse, but 7-2 on a horse that just plain isn't fast enough in this field. I kind of was head scratching at that. So the two that I ended up on here and I want the most of are the 2 Royal Mesa. Getting Bejarano up, who hasn't been great at Keeneland, but this horse fits on figs, and makes some sense. Should be pretty forwardly placed here and should get a fairly decent setup, and at least a horse that seems to have some semblance of consistent form as of late. And the other horse I wanted a little bit of was Empty Tomb, who last out on synthetic, you kind of get in that dirtied up form. Another horse that I think makes some sense in here, but I feel this race was horrible. You could hit the all button and feel like don't have enough coverage in here, and I don't really have a super strong opinion on anybody one way or another. Honestly, I'm on Empty Tomb, I think, more because of the Sayas factor right now.
So I just glanced at this race quickly. Go ahead, Brian or Josh.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, Brian, you got any opinions on this one?
I do. So when I first started looking at the race, I said, if you're playing the pick 5, I think this is the spread race. And I said, we'll play against number 7 Top Seed. And then as I went through the sheet a little bit further, Mark hit on it. Top Seed, some question marks. You're talking about a short price on a layoff for a trainer that's not great off a layoff. I landed on the same 2 horses Mark did, which is scary. Mark had mentioned the 2, that Bejarano gets up. Bejarano keeps the mount, which, for Phil Simms probably doesn't mean too much, but he knows the horse. And you look at who this horse has been beaten by, even though they're optional claimers for 80. Hog Creek Hustle beat this horse in November, and people love Hog Creek Hustle.
Silver Prospector's in there, who's a pretty good horse. Callum Rhodes in there. Nick's Go.
Right.
Title Ready. I mean, there's a list.
There is. It's a who's been racing during COVID. So I don't know how you can toss Royal Mesa. My notes here were must use in a vertical. If you're going to play a trifecta, this is the kind of horse you key, in second and third. The horse, at this distance has 5 places in 2 shows and only 1 win. So he might hang. Very, very well chance he hangs. But I don't know how you could leave this horse off of verticals. With that being said, Mark touched on the 5, excuse the last out. I think, Turfway Park is just different. You can't fault a horse for hating that surface. And then the only other horse that I wanted to talk about since we got there was, I actually talked to a couple of people today who were looking at this one Final Jeopardy, and I cannot get behind this horse come hell or high water. It is like an easy toss for me, and I'm not sure if this is going to be like the wise guy horse or something, because I was talking to a few different people on Twitter, and they're like, oh yeah, this horse did this and this. Look where this horse is racing, Mahone Valley, I just can't do it, and it's the only horse in the field that's in for a tag, which to me is a big thing for $80,000. It's like, no, thank you. So, this is the kind of race, Mark said he had a hard time capping it. If you say the 7 is a bad favorite, you can toss the 4 and the 1. You're down to 4 horses in the field. You probably take all 4 of them if you're playing a pick 5 and you just move on.
The one thing I will say about the 1 is the 1 has been at Keeneland and firing bullets, which I think some people say is usually a pretty big key on how they're going to handle the surface. But yeah, I have a hard time getting to the 1 like based off of anything else in here. Like I guess that Thistledown number is just like humongous, but I mean that's on Briz. I mean I don't even know what it looks like on Bauer. It could be 20 points too slow still here. But Caleb, what did you think?
Yeah, so I think we all hate South Bend, so he probably wins in a laugher. But yeah, when Bill Mott horses go sour, it just seems like they really go sour. And it just seems like he has a hard time getting them back into form. So I'm not interested in South Bend at all. I also think that's probably a bad line. I'll be surprised if he goes off at 5-2. Although, kind of unlike Brian and Mark, I actually do like the 7 top seed, just because I think he gets the lead here, and I don't see too many horses that could really go with him. I mean, truthfully, the only horse that might go with him is the 6, but coming out of a mile and a half race on turf and then a mile and an eighth on the synthetic at Woodbine, I'm not really sure that most of his races have been at longer and not over the surface. So I'm not really sure he's going to get the lead or be sent that hard for the lead. I'm sure Time Form probably shits on the 7 pretty bad because those fractions last 2 were pretty slow. But, I remember watching those races, and it's a gutsy horse. Yeah, 5 starts as a 5-year-old, but he didn't race at 3 or at 4. So clearly there were issues that they've since, from the looks of things, been kind of resolved. So to me, I'm not as worried about it as I would be if he had 1 start a year or something. And then I'm also on board with the 5 Empty Tomb, as we've all talked about. I play a lot of Aqueduct in the winter. You toss the Turfway race, like Brian mentioned already. His last 3 at Aqueduct, he was against the bias. He was against a gold rail on February 8th. He was against a pretty strong speed bias on January 15th, and then against a gold rail again on December 19th. Now, you can't really excuse an 18-length defeat just because of a gold rail. But, Backside of the Moon is a very legit New York bred, maybe grade 3 kind of horse. So I'm not going to lose too much sleep over that one. But I think he's really interesting here, and you get the hottest rider at the meet. So I agree, Empty Tomb, and I'm going to be using top seed. I don't know that I could use really anybody else.
Wow. I really like the 6. I think the 6 is going to I think the 6 is going to probably win. I think the 6 got a chance to win this wire to wire. But I don't know. I'll probably have to take a closer look. I've only looked at Briz stuff, so I haven't double checked against Time Form or anything like that. But I thought the 6 was going to get a favorable trip in this race. Pretty much like everyone else, I hate South Bend in this race. I just don't get it. The other horses I was interested in were the 1 and the 2, Royal Mesa and Final Jeopardy at a price. But yeah, I thought I was kind of scrolling through the PPs, and I thought the 6 looked like an interesting bet, especially if he doesn't get bet. But we'll see. I think the 7 is going to take a ton of money. You see Shug, and you see the horse is in great form or has great form, but hasn't raced in a while. So I don't know. Interested to see where that kind of goes. But Luke saying that top seed looks like he has issues, 5 starts and is 5 years old. Yeah, that's kind of like reminds me. Or wasn't that how your favorite horse ever, Mark, is? Tom Zeta?
Tom Zeta raced for a long period of time. He just didn't race very often. If you look at that 7 horse, he sort of got started late, and then some similar. But Tom Zeta definitely raced a lot more than the 7 did. But yeah, I had said the same thing that Luke was saying, that that horse, obviously has some issues, some soundness issues, and it just feels suspect.
It's odd for top seed. If you look at the workouts, you've got 10 workouts since January, and you like to see that every 7-day workout, and the horse has been doing it. But I just question why 10 to get back to form, to come back in an optional claimer here. It just seems really odd. A lot of times you'll see a horse come back after 4 workouts and get that jog in and not run for the tag, and they're just something doesn't make sense here.
Yeah, and that horse really, on paper, on all the speed figs I look at, needs to take a pretty big step forward to really be a major player here. I could see a pace scenario that maybe is a little more favorable, but that horse seems to really need to take a pretty big step forward to be a major player in this spot.
Hey Josh, you had mentioned Mighty Heart, and I'm just gonna, you're not alone there. I had the horse. 1 for 1 at the distance. with benefiting from the cutback and probably back to an appropriate class spot. It's just I don't trust that number from Fort Erie, the only dirt effort that I see on the PP. And you said you only looked at Briss in that top right corner for Briss. Those are some low pedigree numbers that I just cannot get behind when you see like a 115 up above on that 5 or 113. Yep. I'm sorry.
So I moving on here to race 9. I made sure to get Caleb nice and big here. We got the grade 2 Elkhorn here, race 9. Although, in fairness to Caleb, there are not that many horses he hates in this race. I don't think. I think, if anything, there's probably more horses in this race that owe me money. Most notably, Cross Border. But there is a Channel Cat sighting, and I know Caleb could go all day about Channel Cat, but Caleb, the whole reason that we waited for you 10 minutes.
Can we finally agree that Cross Border is an official member of the club with Sadler's Joy and who else? Arklow and Channel Cat and the old good old boys club. Like, I know you guys were defending him, I think, not that long ago, but I mean, what is that now? Like 8 starts in a row where he just hasn't got it done, beaten chalk 2 or 3 times. Like, can we finally agree that he's, a 7-year-old horse that freakishly won a 4-horse race at Saratoga and just really isn't that good?
No. I'll say it. No.
The worst part about Cross Border is that he's always going to get in these races. He's always going to get that, like, unless there's an actual like leading horse, like a leader horse, you're always just going to look and be like, man, maybe this horse gets the lead, goes wire to wire. Like, at least that's what I think. I don't know. I get tricked into this all the time.
To back up where Caleb, I think, was going here, and I'll back Caleb up a bit on this. You're getting a horse that's going to be, hasn't won his last 8 starts or something, and he's going to be 4-1 on the board. He's going to be overbet relative to his chances of winning. He should be 8 or 10-1, which is probably his chances in this field of winning. I don't think he's impossible. I think he's a horse that could win, but he hasn't put it together in a long time. He's 7 years old now, and he's got to kind of find some of that back form. And there are other options in here that I'm just a lot more interested than him. Could he win? Sure. Is he going to be overbet? Definitely.
Can I tell you why I defend him? Just for the record, real quick.
He has dirt on you?
He won at Saratoga. Well, that too. But, he won at Saratoga. And then look where he's been since then. Okay, he didn't win 2 more times at Saratoga. Lost to Sadler's Joy and Channel Maker. That's fine. Okay. Then the horse goes to Belmont. Fairgrounds.
Okay, let's not make that fine. He lost to Sadler's Joy, who is the president of the fan club that I'm shitting on. So that's not.
And also in that race, he technically did not cross the wire first.
Yes.
No, he did not cross the wire first. But now he's going to Keeneland, right? The horse has never been to Keeneland before. Keeneland's, I've said it earlier, Keeneland's turf runs softer. Compared to where this horse has been running, if you're going to make an argument for, I don't want to say a horse for course, but something that is different that this horse hasn't seen before, this is it. And at 4-1, it's probably too short to take a price, but I could see somebody arguing that Cross Border is going to take to this course. That's all I got.
And I will say that well, I don't know who ends up inheriting the lead in this race. Maybe Cross Border is very forwardly placed. If you've been watching the turf at Keeneland the past few racing days, the speed has been very, very, very good on turf. So you've seen very forwardly placed horses. So that does bode well for him from a run style standpoint. I just think he's more likely a 2nd or 3rd place horse than he necessarily is the winner.
Well, let's talk about horses that can actually win.
If you start with Channel Maker, I'm going to sign off.
I'm not even in this race.
I was being sarcastic.
Tide of the Sea. That's my pick here, the 6. I know Tyler gets off, and I don't really care because Tyler butchered that ride so bad last time. The horse was rank, but at some point you just let him go, and Tyler did not. The race got wired, and he ended up beaten, ran 2nd. But I like Corrales. I think he's super underrated. I know that's Josh's boy. I like this horse. He likes 1.5 miles. He likes to win, and he's got pretty good early speed here. I think after how rank he got trying to rate last time, they send this horse. There could be some potential Mike Maker, fuckery rabbit games going on, because I think he has like 3 or 4 horses in this race. But I don't care. I mean, to take Chase's angle sometimes, I think the rabbit wins sometimes. And I think that I don't think he's a rabbit. And I do think he has a very legit shot in here. So, he's already got a win over Keeneland, actually, 4 starts back, going this distance. So I like Tide of the Sea quite a bit here, and that'll be my top pick.
Yeah, Caleb, you and I, man, just like right here, Tide of the Sea, 100%. I actually, if I play anything late here, I think I'm going to single Tide of the Sea and just try and get most of my play through this horse. And like part of that is like I like this horse that much, but the other part of it is that like just looking at some of the other races, I feel like I'm going to need more horses elsewhere, and I feel like this is a place I could take a stand and with a nice mid price here and be able to kind of differentiate my ticket. One thing I kind of did want to note, and what kind of helped me make this decision, is some of the other horses I thought that might be players here. They haven't been running without Lasix, and Tide of the Sea has run 2 pretty good races, I think, without Lasix. So I don't have that question on Tide of the Sea. I think that Tide of the Sea, his the McKnight back at Gulfstream, he won without Lasix. Tyler did what he, I don't know why he didn't go to the lead, but I just think that this horse has run 2 nice races off Lasix, and I think he's going to be poised to run a 3rd one. And if you look at a horse like, you look at horses like North Dakota or, I guess even Channel Cat and Red Knight, who just hasn't run off Lasix, other horses that might be contenders in here, they just haven't run as well off Lasix. So, and like a horse like Epic Bromance, who might also be the leader here, he is just, he's another horse that hasn't been off Lasix. So at least for me, that's something I've kind of like started looking at, especially with these long turf races, to see how they go. Now, the one horse that does scare me a little bit is the 2 Say the Word, shipping in for Phil D'Amato. I had Mark pull some stats for Phil D'Amato shipping in, because I guess like I know Phil D'Amato's like the turf god on the West Coast, but I don't really hear about him shipping horses in to Keeneland, and Mark, you pulled I thought it was a kind of surprising stat for him shipping into Keeneland.
Yeah, you're gonna make me recite this now, and I didn't write it down, but Phil D'Amato shipping into Keeneland, it was a fairly decent sample size over the past 5 years. It was like, I want to say it was like 25 or something starts. And he was, I think, 18% to win with a $3 ROI. So it was actually a fairly decent stat. That's shipping into Keeneland for graded stakes on the turf, as I think the stat that we ended up pulling. So, he does ship into here, and he seems to get a little ignored on the board, and it does, get some of those done. So, and again, I will agree with you, Josh. I think Say the Word is very interesting. It'd probably be my top pick in this race. He ran pretty damn well last out, got beat by United, who's arguably one of the best, turf marathon horses in the country, and did so without Lasix, which is something that you were talking about before. And I think that is something you have to take into consideration here. He hasn't been on Lasix. I Say the Word has not been on Lasix in his last 2 starts. I didn't know if you had more, Josh. I didn't want to step all over you, but you maybe throw my stat out. So
no, that was pretty much it. I mean, I'm going to be against Cross Border in this race. I think Cross Border is in Marzo territory now. He's done. He's on the Dunzo list.
Is that like Jakarta territory, or are we not there yet?
I mean, I thought I thought I had quit Jakarta, but then Jakarta ended up on my ticket somehow last time out. So, I think I might need to go see a therapist.
Yeah, I think my other two horses I'm really interested in here, beyond Say the Word, who we already talked about. I know Josh already was complaining about the Lasix horses, but if you look at North Dakota, he's a very much an every other type horse. And last out was the whatever the other. So if you watch his trip in that PWC turf invite, the peg. He, Jose Ortiz could not have been much wider on him. He was about 6 or 8 off the rail. He was crazy, crazy wide, gave up all sorts of ground and really faded badly on the stretch. I think this is the type that, I like Johnny V getting up here. Johnny V's actually been riding very well at Keeneland so far this meet. And I think North Dakota makes a ton of sense in here. Really fits if you look at some of those better figs, and you're getting, 10-1 on North Dakota on the morning line. I have a feeling that might drift down. It seems a little bit steep, but you're getting 10-1 on a horse I think has an equal chance to win as somebody like, I don't know, Say the Word or a Cross Border or those types of horses who, are going to be much shorter on price. And the other horse that I thought was a little interesting in here was Red Knight, the Bill Mott horse. Red Knight, again, sort of an every other type pattern horse, likes to get, always seems to be kind of around the finish. I think that now that they've stretched him out, now that they're going 1.5 miles with him more often, he seems to be a horse that's kind of stepped it up. And, you get the Bill Mott factor, and Bill Mott has been pretty darn good so far this Keeneland meet. So I thought Red Knight here was pretty darn interesting.
Mr. E.M. Schneid saying Mike Maker drinks Peach Crown, obvious single. So I think that's a pretty good angle. It's about as good an angle as any of them. Brian, I saw you throw your hands up as soon as Mark just mushed the shit out of your horse.
I was all prepared to start singing North Dakota, Take Me Home. My rendition of West Virginia, and then Mark has to go and just piss on my horse. I really liked North Dakota. The horse is going to be fit. The horse is ready. I like the fact that the horse beat Red Knight, with like 3 back. Now that Mark's on there, I'm going to change my philosophy completely.
Good choice.
And I had this horse at 8-1. I think 10-1 morning line is probably fair. I think if you see 8-1 when they're loading the gate, you're probably going to see the computers take that down to 6 or 5-1. I think it's going to happen. So with that being said, my notes, I'm sitting here looking at my notes, trying to figure out how I can be different than what you guys, and I was like 6, 7, 10 is where I kind of landed. I capped it a little bit differently. You guys are going Epic Bromance for the lead. I'm kind of going to take a price now, and I'm going to take Crafty Daddy. I think Crafty Daddy's going to go for the lead, the 3, and I'm only saying that to be different right now because we're all on the same horse. But, McPeak seems to have some of these horses ready to go for spot starts at Keeneland. And I don't understand the Turfway Park effort there. It seemed odd after taking the whole winter off at, racing at Churchill and then coming back at Turfway Park. I think obviously in the Clark, the horse was way overclassed. I think this is more likely the appropriate level for this horse. And, maybe they have figured out the horse needs to be faster. And if they take off early, maybe they can steal it at a huge price. I'm not completely against that idea. If I was going to include a bomb, a cheap speed or inexpensive velocity, whatever you want to call it, it's probably a good choice. And then just because I want to be different than Mark, I think Channel Cat might surprise somebody. I had said originally I was going to fade
this might surprise somebody. Caleb, not naming names. Caleb,
the horse has 5 wins in 24 starts. It's not the kind of horse you brag about, right? But we always joke about how Joel Rosario will screw up a pick 5 when you're fading him or you're on him. However it's going to work, he's going to get you. And I made a joke today about Corey and the way Corey's been riding, and you are in the Midwest here. It's a Sisterton horse. Jack doesn't have a huge barn per se compared to the others, but this is a Calumet Farm horse. And I think, Corey might be the benefactor of a little bit. If the 3 does in fact go like I'm handicapping, and the 3 and the 4 go, the 9 might be the benefactor. That's kind of what I'm going with, just to be different from Mark, because damn it, that's 2 in a row.
John Massey's saying that when he thinks of Kentucky turf, he does not think of Cali shippers. And he also does that say the word lost to Arklow.
2 reasons I don't like him already. Yeah, the Gulfstream race bothered me. I get that it's a grade 1, but 2 races out west are top notch, and then it comes east and kind of runs a stinker. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know you're getting Saez and the stats on shipping is good, but at 7-2, I don't know that I could go there at that price.
7-2. If it was Zulu Alpha, I think would be all over it.
See, Caleb almost spit his bourbon out that he didn't even have in his mouth yet.
I didn't realize if he was going to just spit it out or just chug it. Okay.
Oh man, Evil Bob Dole asking if Corey can find the rail from the 9 post. I'm sure. You know what? If there's a rail out there somewhere, Corey will find it.
And refuse to get off it no matter what happens.
Yeah. I was actually, Brian, when you started to go all contrarian, I was surprised you didn't take my angle, which is when the race is going 1.5 miles or longer, pick the Argentinian horse.
It's funny you say that, Josh, because I looked at that horse for a while, and I haven't looked at time for him, but Ignacio, that's the Arlington guy, man, and he's got a barn down in the Midwest, and this horse may be primed. I have to see how the numbers match on time for him, but you might
not even close to being fast enough. Needs like 20 time form points.
So we need to single this horse, Josh. That's what I just heard.
Yeah, I mean, this horse is going to be like 40-1. This is going to be Miranake all over again.
We'll probably be more like Jakarta all over again. But
did Jakarta finish his last race yet?
I don't know, man.
Just came around the turn.
I haven't had a chance to look at the rest of the sequence, but I'll probably be playing Keeneland pretty heavily, just because I'm just waiting until Churchill opens. I think Keeneland's going to be on me looking, but I know Caleb is probably only going to look at Keeneland like in the periphery, not just because of all the turf horses that he hates, but because the man loves Oaklawn Park.
I do. Oaklawn has been so. It happened last year, and I thought it was a fluke, but this year, Oaklawn Park's starts their meet, and my pockets become heavier, and I don't understand it because I don't even particularly like to bet Oaklawn Park that much, but it's a good track to me. So I'll certainly be watching most Oaklawn, and maybe I'll watch Keeneland too, just to watch Channel Cat lose. But
you're gonna be playing a Linda Rice horse in New York.
Duck has been tough lately.
You playing a tournament again this weekend?
No, not this weekend. Duck has been rough.
Yeah. Have they decided if they're going to do the same thing for Belmont or no?
I know they have the big ones for Belmont, like the $3,000 like Belmont Stakes Challenge and whatever, $10,000, whatever. I want to say they're continuing the $300 buy-in ones too, but I'm not positive.
I might pop into a couple of those when Belmont starts because I prefer playing turf races, and the Belmont turf is always nice. No, I think John Massey figured it out. Vic breathes life into you via the microphone, Caleb. That's what it is.
That might be it.
He's gets you going. And now, so we have the Oaklawn handicap here. This is like a quote unquote win and you're in for the Pimlico Special. And I actually thought this race came up pretty competitive. I wanted to say good. And then I looked at the horses, and I'm like, I don't know if these horses are really good. And then I stopped and realized that these might be like some of the best horses we got going older. So this might be what we got. But I think your morning line favorite here is going to be the 2 Express Train. And I actually had to ask Mark, who is Express Train? Because I had no idea who this horse was. So, Caleb, can you explain to me who is Express Train?
Yeah, Express Train is a horse that, with all due respect to John Sheriff's, I don't think he knows what this horse wants to do. And I've kind of said that for a while, but he's a nice horse from out west. He's good at everything, really. I mean, other than the turf race, I guess, but sprinting, routing, but he's a nice horse. He ran a real nice race last time out. He beat Maxfield, so that's got to count for a lot in some people's books. So he's a nice horse. A bit of a late bloomer, I think. Sheriff's gives his horses a lot of time to sort of develop, so no surprise there. But he's a nice horse.
I can't believe who came out to ride him.
Yeah, Juan.
Yeah, Juan came out to ride him, huh? I wonder. Let me scroll down. Is Juan got any other mounts? Hopefully somebody else picked him up. Where is he? Hernandez. No,
he's got one mount.
He's only got that mount. Wow, he's got as many mounts as Kelsey Haar.
That's where you go with that.
And she's married to a trainer, so what's that?
Maybe Juan is. I don't know.
This is a tough race, wasn't it? I mean, I could literally make a horse or a case for every horse in here except for Owendale. So, I mean, that's a pretty tough race.
See, I think Owendale's you could single Owendale and move on.
You play your Owendale Channel Cat double, and I'll book you right now.
Okay.
Oh my God, dude! Do you guys remember the New Orleans Classic? When I know I was, and Caleb, I think you were with me. We were just talking about Chess Chief wiring this thing, and then fucking who is at the lead at the top of the straight, but fucking Owendale, and where's Chess Chief? Like 4 or 5 lengths back, but he still fucking wins somehow.
I remember that.
Oh my goodness! Like Owendale had no business losing that race. Owendale. Like, Flo rode him completely different than he's been on the lead a couple times, like the Pimlico Special and the Ali Sheba. He was kind of close up, but I thought Flo gave a really great ride, and the horse still lost. And so I don't know. I don't know if I can't take a short price on this horse again. And he's 7-2 here. He's probably going to be all of 7-2, if not shorter, because of the Cox and Flo angle. And we'll see what kind of respect that Express Train gets at the windows, because I sure as heck didn't know about him. And then I realized that he ran second in the big cap. So, I mean, he's coming in with some nice form. So I think he's probably a worthy favorite here. I'm actually very interested in the 4 Warriors Charge here.
Of course you are. Because you are.
And the reason why I'm interested in Warriors Charge here is because there really isn't any speed here. I don't think that there's enough speed. And if Owendale is going to sit off, which I think is probably what's going to end up happening, I think that they're going to just send Warriors Charge. And I think that you're going to, he's going to say, come out and get me. So I think 6-1 is a very fair price, and so I think I'm gonna hitch my wagon here to Warriors Charge, and I guess like I said, Warriors Charge, and probably Express Train, and that's probably all I need in this spot here.
Hey, let me ask you a question, Josh. Since you're taking Warriors Charge, why is Floranta on Owendale and not Warriors Charge?
Because Flo makes bad decisions.
I mean, Flo has been Warriors Charge through and through almost, that's 80%, 90% of the horses' races. I think that's interesting to me that Brad would rather have Cox or Florant on Owendale. And I may be reading into that too much. Maybe Warriors Charge is the leader, but it almost feels like they're going to use Warriors Charge to kind of set the race up.
I mean, maybe, but who else is going to go with Warriors Charge? Like, that's the thing. Is like, look at Warriors Charge's Warriors Charge's record in this OP. He hasn't missed the board. He's 3-2-2. So
I think Warriors Charge wants about 7 furlongs, and that's about it. I don't think he wants to go this far. And I mean, look at his pedigree. He is sprinty top and bottom, and I think this is just too far. I think I completely agree with what Brian's sort of leading to here, which is he's a setup horse.
I mean, I don't care if you could let Owendale start at the 16th pole, and I'm still not sure he'd win. But Josh, I'm with you on Warriors Charge, but I want to hear, like, how did you rationalize that last race? I mean, was it just the layoff? Was it the slop? Because it wasn't like he ran bad, but it kind of felt like a race at 1-2 against a pretty bad field where he should just, lay over that field and, win a pretty easy race. He actually came from off the pace that day, made a move, took the lead, and kind of got nailed. I mean, I that's kind of gives me some pause, but what'd you make of that?
Yeah, maybe this is like I don't know if he just went a little too fast, but I mean 23-1 going a mile, I mean it's not that fast. And like if you look at his like Oaklawn handicap and his his Razorback, I mean he set just about as fast fraction. So I don't really know if I can make much of an excuse for that race last out. I had to look back and see who else was with him, but he didn't get to lead that race either. So, I mean, if you look at all of his races that he's won, at least that I can see far on the PPs, I mean, he's pretty much he's led all the way. So maybe he just doesn't like passing horses. But yeah, I can't really make a huge excuse for that last one out. But yeah, I mean, I think he likes Oaklawn, and I think he looks like the leader here. And I think that he's just going to get a better trip here. Yeah, John Massey's saying that Flo rated him. So maybe that's why Flo's not on him. Oh, he said it even better. He said Flo Frenched him. Gave him the old mustard.
Yeah, I mean, I think, in here I landed on Express Train and Fearless. I think those are your two most likely winners. But the horse I'm kind of most interested at, and I think you might get a bit of a price on, is Silver Prospector, the 8. He, he handles the surface. Ran, wasn't going to catch Mystic Guide in the last race, and Mystic Guide's considered the number one ranked older horse in the world or something stupid like that right now. And you're getting paid here, and those last couple of races really fit in this field well. I thought Silver Prospector was just super interesting in here, but again, it's not a race that I felt like I had a great feel on. I think an Express Train or a Fearless are your more likely winners, but I thought at the price, Silver Prospector was just super juicy here.
I was reading the chat, and E.M. Schneid's just mentioned Silver State, and I don't want to go off of you, Mark, but I don't know how. I mean, Silver State seems like the kind of horse that you would have gravitated to. The horse is 4 for 4 in the last 4, and just historically, that seems to be the kind of horse you go with.
Shout out to Wendy's. Shout out to Wendy's for the 4 for 4.
What led you off of that particular horse? Because that seems like a Mark horse.
No, it's very much a Mark horse. My issues with that horse has been, as they've continued to stretch him out, he's continued to win by less and less and be less impressive. My gut here is kind of implying that I think Silver State might be a little bit distance challenged, and this is a little further than he wants to go. I mean, you look back, 3 races back at 7 furlongs, he was winning by 2 3/4 lengths. And then all of a sudden, last out, he's, at a mile and 16th, he's winning by a neck and a nose. So I think the company's a little deeper here. You are right. That is my kind of horse. I do like horses that like to get their photos taken, but I have him as a B. So is a horse that I want a piece of, but it just feels like a horse that probably gets overbet on the board.
Yeah, but he embarrassed Night Ops twice. People bet him off the board last time.
And also
he did lose.
And also with Silver State, you're talking about a horse that just barely nosed out Hunkaburn and Love. Chase and I both
you love that horse.
I love Hunkaburn and Love. My issue is Hunkaburn and Love is really an allowance horse, and he just barely got to an allowance horse. There's some more, there's more quality here.
Didn't Shake Me Up win something the other day too?
I want to say he did, but I always get the Shake Me Up horses mixed up. There's a couple of them.
I think you're right. I think it was a $5,000 claimer at Charlestown.
He did. If you look at some of the great horses in Silver State's, back races like New York Traffic and Wells Bayou, and New Sire, Mr. Monomoy, half to Monomoy Girl. In case you haven't seen that commercial. That's literally all they say. I think literally the commercial is half the Monomoy girl won the Risen Star. That's it. That's all they got. But yeah, I mean, Silver State makes sense, especially because the horse is just like totally in form. And I don't think. I mean, I guess you could maybe make the argument, like you were saying, Mark, that the horse might be distance compromised. It does seem to be more like a miler type of pedigree. Maybe mile and 16th, so mile and the 8th might be stretching it a little bit for the horse, but the horse does like Oaklawn. It's 2 for 2.
I mean, looking at his pedigree, there's no reason to think he can't go this far. I think it had more of a function to do with rising up in class than going farther, as far as why the winning margins get decreased, with that horse. I like him. He's not my top pick, but I like him. I can use everybody in this race, so I'm not going to really talk about anybody. I would probably take the inside 4 horses if I wasn't going to buy the race, completely. I think all 4 of them have a legit shot. Anyone else, I don't like quite as much, but I wouldn't say that they couldn't win either. I think it's a very, very flat race.
It was, like I said, I thought it was a competitive. I didn't think it was necessarily a good race, but I thought it was a competitive race. Although, like I said, I mean, some people think Owendale is still a grade 2, grade 1 type horse. So
keep talking about Owendale, you're going to put him in the circle.
You already said you're singling Owendale, and you are being contrarian. You're the only Owendale lover in here.
Okay, for you to call me contrarian on Owendale, I think that might be, it's a 7-2 horse who's probably going to go off 9-5.
Yeah, I was just say in this race I'm 5 deep, and Owendale is not in that 5. I just can't use Owendale here. I just don't. I can't get to that horse. That horse invents new ways of losing every time. He, I don't know, is he another Tacitus type? Just a horse that's just not that good, or invents new ways of losing, or like he's supposed to have gotten it done his last 5, 6, 7 starts, and he just doesn't. And I loves to be kind of around the winners, but never likes to actually win. I just really can't trust him. And again, I think you're right, Brian. I think he takes a ton of money. He very well could be 9-5 in this field, which makes me think that I'm going to get better prices on somebody I really think has a good chance of winning.
Yeah, John Massey's saying I don't think he doesn't like the 8 because of the outside post. A lot more ground to cover.
Hey, before you move on, I just want to say Ghost Zapper alert.
Ghost Zapper alert. Who's Ghost Zapper in here?
Number 3, Fearless.
No, where's Nofi at?
Where is Nofi at? Where is he?
I don't know. I mean, that was even my name on Discord for a while. I had to change it today. And yeah, John Massey saying that Shake Me Up won on Saturday. So, but yeah, I thought this was an interesting race. At least I think it's going to be a fun race to watch. I'll probably just beg Caleb to get a pick 5 ticket here and see if we can get live. Let's move on here to race 11, the Apple Blossom, and now this it's a short field of 6 horses, but I mean everyone showed up, right? Are we missing anybody in this race? Oh, we're missing. Cheers the Devil, and who else? We're missing somebody else too, right?
I think the big one that's not there is She Share the Devil.
Yeah,
Valiant's retired.
I haven't heard.
What's the Pletcher horse that ran second in the distaff last year?
I thought that was Valiant.
I thought Valiant, yeah, but that's not Pletcher, isn't that? Not Sisterson. Shit, I forgot who trains Valiants. I'm sure John Massey will come in here and let us know.
Yeah, you got the big hitters though. I mean, you could argue for like a horologist or a Dunbar Road or somebody, but other than She Dares the Devil, I think the big hitters all showed up today.
The distaff was Monomoy Girl, Valiance, and Dunbar Road, top 3.
So yeah, I mean, you pretty much got the who's who of the older female division here. Obviously, your favorite's going to be the defending champion, Monomoy Girl, at even money. I'm curious. I mean, do you really think that Monomoy Girl can go any shorter than like 4 to 5 in here with the presence of Swiss Skydiver?
Shorter than that?
I mean, she was 1 to 5 in the distaff, wasn't she? Oh, no, she was even money in the distaff. Okay, never mind. I was looking at the wrong race.
I shorter than 4 to 5. Yeah, I could see her being 3 to 5. I could see her honestly being a lot shorter than that, depending on. I don't know what the final odds get to here. Swiss Skydivers in there is going to take a lot of money. A lot of people really like Swiss Skydiver. Monomoy Girl's the class of the field, obviously, for a million different reasons. I don't know how short she ends up being. I would think 3 to 5, 4 to 5 is where I would imagine, just because of the Swiss Skydiver, and Latruska will take some money as well. So, but I would imagine if you are into another broad or chance to shine, you're going to get a lot more than what Morning Line is.
Always interested in another broad.
And by the way, Valiance was a Pletcher trained horse. Sweet Sassy agrees with me.
Valiance was Pletcher? Why did I think Valiance was somebody else?
Valiance was the horse that honestly should have won that race if she didn't get such a terrible ride out of Sass.
Gotta look this up now.
Not that I had that horse in a tournament or something that would have won me a lot of money, but
Shit, it was Pletcher.
Yeah.
Who's the horse I'm thinking of then?
There's
There's a horse from a smaller barn that ran like a huge effort.
You talking about the George Weaver horse that ran versus Dunbar Road? I think it starts with a V as well. I can't remember the horse's name.
Probably. I'm thinking of someone else.
Well, while you think, I'm going to ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
Latruska, I watched a 27 post arguing about Latruska being the wise guy horse for this race. Does Latruska steal this race?
I think there's a chance.
Latruska is the speed and might be like loose on the lead, but I just don't think it matters.
I don't think it matters either. I agree.
And that's coming from somebody who would fucking bet lone speed and almost anything. But I don't think it matters here.
So who do you single here? I mean, you had to single. You can't play 2, 3, 4 horses in this race. And I personally think Monomoy Girl wins. I think Swiss Skydiver has peaked. I hate to say that about a 4-year-old horse, but horse isn't returned to anywhere near what we saw in the fall last year. And maybe the horse needed a time or whatever, but I think Monomoy Girl is the even though Josh says it doesn't matter, I think the class wins here, and Swiss Skydiver fades away quietly.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you, Brian. I think, I'm an ABC person, so Monomoy is lone A, and then I probably use both Latruska and Swiss Skydiver as C's. And I think, just from a little bit of a sanity hedge kind of a thing, but I think, Monomoy Girl is probably a 70% winner of this race in my head.
It's a very courageous opinion. I like Swiss Skydiver. Monomoy Girl's done nothing wrong. Like, literally crossed the line first in 15 out of 16 starts. Like, you're approaching like Zenyatta levels of like legend. So I'm not against her, but I just think that Swiss Skydiver is kind of the now horse. I mean, she had a horrible trip in the distaff when she fell down out of the gate. Came back and beat the field at Santa Anita as easily as you would like to see. I think she's a little more tactical than Monomoy, so I think she probably does get first run on Latruska, who I just don't think can invent a pace scenario that lets her win here. And yeah, I'm pretty excited to watch Swiss Skydiver, and I'm also kind of biased because I really like this filly. She danced every dance last year. Even went up against the boys. So, I'm pretty excited to see her race again this year as a 4-year-old.
She beat all the boys. When you get right down to it. So,
hey, Robbie, how you doing? If Monomoy Girl was racing in Australia, we all have hats calling her the best mare ever. But
I also have a soft spot for Monomoy, a little bit more than I do with Skydiver right now. So, but yeah, I mean, this race is going to be one of the fun ones. I don't think I necessarily look to build any tickets around this or build through this race. I think I just kind of sit back and enjoy this one because it's just going to be a good one.
Hey, would you be surprised if you see anybody scratch out here? If you see the 4 or the 1 scratch out morning of, and it wouldn't surprise me at all at this point.
It sort of would, because and the reason I say that is I think you have people trying to get black type here, G1 black type. So, the idea is there a pace scenario that it falls apart? You can suck up and get third in this race, and you can get black type for your mare, which makes her worth a lot more.
Yeah, I just looked at that. I didn't pay attention to the payouts before I spoke, and you are correct. That changes things.
Yep. Yeah. And G1 black type is huge from a sale rank standpoint. So, yeah.
I think you AC this race, and you A Monomoy Girl, and you use Latruska as a C, and that's just because I can't quit speed.
At least you're honest.
But I mean, like, it's one of those things where I feel like Swiss Skydiver beats you if you single Monomoy Girl, or like, hey, like, okay, sure, you pick Swiss Skydiver. I think both those horses are going to play almost the same horizontally if you're trying to build a ticket that way, because I feel like most tickets are going to have both those horses on there. So I kind of agree with the way Eagle Bob Dole kind of said, that you don't take both of them. And that's only because in this case, I really do think that both those horses are going to play the same price horizontally. But
I don't. I bet you're going to get. I bet your Monomoy Girl will be half the payouts of whatever Swiss Skydiver will be.
That's what I'm thinking. I think Monomoy Girl's 3 to 5 on the board.
Yeah, I don't think she'll be half, but I think you'll get 3 to 5 versus 6 to 5 or something like that. I mean,
that is half.
Well, I mean live odds, but I think horizontals it won't be dead half. But I think you'll get a lot less on Monomoy. I think personally, and again, I know it's the common opinion. It's like, oh, you have to single here and pick one, but I think like everything, there's no absolutes in horse racing. And if you love bombs and hate chalk in the previous 4 races or 3 races, wherever this falls in the sequence, like, please don't miss the pick 5 because you singled Swiss Skydiver and didn't have Monomoy Girl. Like, it depends on your opinion. If you do like the chalk and you're going to be using chalk in other legs, okay, maybe take your shot here and double up your bet or whatever and, be wrong or be right. But there aren't no absolutes. And I've never agreed with the opinion that you have to single in a race that has 2 short-priced favorites, in a vacuum without knowing what the rest of the sequence looks like.
But Caleb, what if I wake up and I'm feeling dangerous?
Do you have some music queued up? I feel like you're about to play something.
2 years ago, you're talking about the guy that threw out bricks and mortar, so maybe I throw them both out and play the field.
Okay, Swifty.
Yeah. So now, besides the fact that Latruska is lone speed in this race, the only reason why I think it might be worthy to play as a C, you got Irad aboard, and that's you got to think that Irad's going to be a little bit more aggressive than the way Rosario rode her out last time out. I was so mad. Who was the horse, Caleb? Literally, like a race or 2 later, that looked like an off the pace horse that Rosario hustled to the lead and won on.
Oh yeah, I hear.
You remember that, dude?
I remember that.
Flipped my desk. I almost flipped my desk. I was like, "Where the hell was that ride on Latruska?" Oh, dude,
I know who you're talking about. It was fuck. I know who you're talking about, but I can't think of it. It was the Rebel, wasn't it?
Oh, it might have been. It might
Wasn't
have
he
been
on a Baffert horse or something.
Yeah, wasn't it? Was it Concert Tour? No,
I don't remember.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, he hustled Concert Tour out of the gate in
Yeah.
the Rebel, didn't he? Over Caddo River,
Yep.
like, which kind of surprised a lot of people.
It was just like, fucking, where the hell is that in Latruska? But yeah, I think Monomoy Girl wins this one. But we can probably talk about the 6-horse race probably for another half hour. But we'll move on here. We got one last race that Mark was really interested in, so I figured we'd touch on it real quick before we got off. And that's the Californian. It's a grade 2 here, mile and the eighth at Santa Anita. You don't get a huge field here. I think this is the field of 5. Yeah, you get a field of 5, but you do have a couple of interesting horses in there with Independence Hall, Country Grammar, who Country Grammar scratched out of a race last week. I think it was, right? And decided to show up here instead.
Recently, yeah, I remember seeing him scratch out recently.
No, I found this race to kind of be super interesting. I mean, Independence Hall on paper just is the horse, and it just should be much the best. But he's sort of been exposed in graded stakes company. Every time he ever steps up into the graded stakes ranks, he seems to find a way to get beat. And there's nobody here that's as classy as some of the other horses that have beat him in some of those other graded stakes tries. But you have to sort of scratch your head. Does this horse just kind of have a ceiling? He's going to be super short. You're probably going to get half of what the morning line is. I literally think he's going to be 4 to 5 in this field, as he probably should be, and he kind of towers over this field. So it becomes a situation of, again, like Steven was talking, how do you manage these types of races? How do you play in this race? I thought that somebody like Country Grammar makes a ton of sense. First time in the Baffert barn, but coming out of the Chad barn. So most of us have a rule about anything coming out of the Chad barn, but I would put an asterisk next to it going into the Baffert barn. And then, after that, you really sort of fall off a cliff to other horses that make some sense. I thought you could make a case for both Growth Engine or Magic on Tap, the 1 and the 2. So you have the other Baffert with Pasta up, and the other and Growth Engine, the Saddler. Again, both of them need to take a step forward in here, but if you have some qualms like I do about Independence Hall, and is Independence Hall really able to step up in class here, it becomes a really, really sort of interesting binary type race.
This race stinks.
I was gonna say, Caleb, you're like you're the king of the West Coast too, right? So
yeah, like I get what Mark's saying, but there's no stakes horses in this field, even though it's a stakes race. So it's like, I mean, even if you argue against Independence Hall on he doesn't get it done against stakes company, which I mean, I would say he's got a grade 3 win, and then he kind of goes straight into grade 1s. Connections get some kind of fever with this horse and put him in bad spots. I think this is probably the first good spot he's been in since his 2-year-old season. So I think this spot makes a lot of sense for him. I mean, not counting his allowance, I guess. But I think he's probably a better sprinter. I think he wants 7 furlongs to maybe a mile. I think a mile and an eighth is probably stretching it a little bit, but I don't think it's totally out of the question. My bigger problem is just everyone else looks terrible. I mean, Royal Ship has pretty much shown nothing. He's probably better on turf. Country Grammar was a nice 3-year-old, and he goes into Baffert's barn. He does have my curiosity, to say the least, but I don't know how interested I am in him, honestly. Magic on Tap. I mean, he ran a nice race last time, I guess, but it came back a little on the slow side, and I'm just not sure really what he was beating in that non-winners of 1 allowance race. And then Growth Engine, who did 0 running last out on the barn switch. And there's just nobody in here that excites me. So I'll probably go with the kind of boring chalk, who I think is just most likely to run his race.
So is Mike Smith riding both Santa Anita and isn't he someplace else? Because I don't think he can ride Royal Ship and also ride horses at, Keeneland?
I think you're thinking of seeing him on a Derby mount from.
Yeah, I didn't see him.
Oh, is that what I'm? Okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Is it one of the Derby mounts? Okay.
I'm with Caleb. I don't know why Royal Ship is here. I don't know what they saw at Delmar in November to bring this horse back on dirt, but that's besides the point. I tried to figure out who takes the lead here and who sets the pace, because it's California and that's what we do, right? So, Independence Hall, I think we were all high on as a 3-year-old before things went weird in 2020. And I don't know how you can play against that horse. I know Mark's making a good argument for Country Grammar. Bob being Bob, he has a magic touch with horses that have maybe lost their way. And perhaps he can right the ship there. But, I think this is the kind of race where Independence Hall probably wins this race 60% of the time, 70% of the time. I think the toe board will reflect that. And that's kind of it. I mean, I don't know what you could do. Looking at the card, this race will be part of the Golden Hour double or the pick 4, right? It's the last 2 races at Santa Anita. So this race will start off the sequence, and no thank you.
I really, really tried to make an argument for Royal Ship.
I know.
And here's the funny part, right? So I started looking at it. I'm like, man, that native diver, like, he finished 4th to some good horses, and then I realized it was a 4-horse field. So I mean, it's the only other place he could finish.
Josh, he's Brazilian, not Argentinian. They're not the same.
Hey, I mean, yeah, they're right next to each other. It's fine. They play soccer good. Yeah, I mean, I guess Independence Hall makes a lot of sense here. I kind of agreed with Caleb. I thought, and correct me if I'm wrong, didn't Independence Hall run like was it that Del Mar race where he came back at 6.5 furlongs and just looked really fucking good, running at 6.5 furlongs, and then they ran him into Malibu and he just like ran into just a bunch of monsters. I mean, if you look back at the Malibu, I mean that's a pretty, Charlatan, Express Train, Collusion, Illusion. So any of those horses in this race are like 2-5, 1-5 to win. So. They tried him in the Pacific Classic, and I mean he ran an even 3rd. But that big cap, I don't know. I definitely expected a better effort out of him in that big cap. But I mean, there's not much else. I kind of think similar to that last race, you decide like, do you think our boy Bob is going to move Country Grammar up? But did I say they call it the Pacific instead of the Pegasus? My bad. Pegasus Invitational. Yeah, I don't know. I think you go with Independence Hall, but I tried to look elsewhere. It's just the rest of these horses suck. I mean, there's just not much you can say about it. And I think Independence Hall is going to get out, and he's going to get out to the lead, and I mean, no one's going to catch him. Easton's going to get out to the lead, and he's just going to win wire to wire. So I know it's not sexy taking an 8-5, but
hey, I got to ask, Mark, what did you like about this race to talk about this race?
It was the only other graded stakes race in the United States on Saturday. That was what I liked.
That's what it was, dude. The way you made it sound like was like, oh, the Californian was good. I was like, oh, it was. I was like, okay. So I just pulled up the PPs, and I was like,
I thought it was interesting seeing it in Independence Hall and in us back into a spot. I figured it was a horse I know you guys had burnt a lot of money on. I figured you'd have some opinions on. I figured it would be a horse that might be a little interesting to talk about.
I would have rather talked about the Grand National. I think that's at least fun going, 2.5, 4 miles, whatever the heck it is.
Wasn't the Grand National last weekend?
It's the 17th. Unless my notes are wrong, I have it marked down for the 17th.
No, because some female jockey won woman won the Grand National. First time ever.
What's wrong with my notes? All right, never mind then.
Stephen Fox says you beat Independence Hall and you get excited. The problem is I don't know who beats Independence Hall. Like I tried to make a case for that Brazilian horse, man. I just couldn't do it.
I mean, if I was gonna try to, I guess I'd probably go to Magic on Tap, and that feels gross. But like, I feel like he probably has the most upside here, given that he's kind of clearly a horse that has issues. But he came back with a nice win, and if Independence Hall doesn't get the lead, because this is a pretty good cutback, then it's probably Magic on Tap who gets the lead. And honestly, like that's the way you win at Santa Anita. Is you just step one is you get the lead, and step two is you don't not get the lead, and that's pretty much all you have to do. So I mean that I just have a hard time making a case for like a Country Grammar or Growth Engine. Is I know they're both having blinkers, but neither one of them have shown much speed in their career, and that's a tough way to win at Santa Anita, especially in a field like this.
Maybe if either Baffert, I'm looking here, the morning line, they're both 5-2. If either one of the Bafferts float up like 4-1, you could make an argument that you make a play on it just on price alone. A little recreational fun play. But I don't know how you could approach this and say, okay, I'm gonna do single either one of those Bafferts or toss Independence Hall in the sequence. I just don't see it. You guys do realize Growth Engine's going to win now, right?
Yeah, we're putting Growth Engine right in the winner's circle.
Yep, absolutely. But I mean, unless I decide that I need to play this golden hour, I'm probably not going to play this race. So, but Stephen Fox saying, Caleb, come to the dark side. He can be our next Pillar Mountain.
Magic on tap can be the next Pillar Mountain.
Yeah.
I don't hate it.
Hey, yeah, okay.
What were you gonna say?
Never mind.
What were you gonna say, Brian?
Some things are better off just keeping your mouth shut.
That's funny.
You guys playing tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll probably take a look at Keeneland. I've been playing Keeneland pretty much every day, and Keeneland was not very kind to me today. So,
hopefully,
there's a nice grade 3 tomorrow at Keeneland.
Yeah.
Caleb, are you working tomorrow, Caleb? Or are you off?
Yeah, work's been killing me lately. It's not going to probably.
I know. I've been looking for Oak Lawn picks, and you just have been nowhere.
I know. So I probably won't get to look at much, honestly, for tomorrow or maybe even the next week. I mean, I might get to dabble a little bit on Sunday, but weekdays are going to be tough.
Yeah, and Keeneland was a little rough to me on that pick 6 yesterday, so that sucked.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll see. Anyways, yeah, we're on the wrong lead. We'll be in Discord. You can hit us up on Twitter at wrong_lead. We got our Twitter handles up here. Mark's at 2 turns, Caleb's at CalebWVU, Brian at BD Horseplayer. I'm at Cherry Drank. John Massey saying to bust up the Tommies for Oak Lawn tomorrow. We got a shout out to Keep Pounding. Shout out to our boy Chase, who is laid up in bed right now, so hopefully he gets better and he's able to stream tomorrow on ABR. And yeah, I'll be playing Keeneland tomorrow, so hit me up in chat. I might be tomorrow's my last day at work until I start my new job on Monday, so I might they already said they're gonna let me out early, so I might be at the OTB tomorrow afternoon. So
I think you should just call off on your last day. Just do it that.
Dude, they like make you like sign a form and hand back all like your equipment, like all like your laptop and everything. And so I haven't gotten that form yet. So I got to actually show up and hand all that stuff in. So I left it at my desk though, so I don't forget anything. But yeah, it's a minor annoyance. But yeah, it should be. I mean, the next couple of weeks are usually a little slow. People just be talking not nonstop derby. I thought it'd be fun to talk a little bit early on that stuff, and then yeah, let's see if I saw someone post on Twitter something like everybody trying to build their bankroll for derby, but all they're doing is spending it. But yeah, I'll be losing my bankroll next week. I do want to talk about Churchill Downs opening night, so you guys will have fun. Yeah. Everyone is real excited when I say Churchill Downs. Mark, let's get a little closer there, Mark.
Look at that face.
Yeah.
Just remember, you're excited for the opening day of Churchill Downs. That's taking away the opening day of Arlington Park. So,
I will. Yeah, I will be at Arlington Park on opening day, so that should be fun.
Oh, I'm rebelling.
The last opening day ever, Josh?
I mean, what else am I going to do, right? Like, I might as well just, like, sink into, live it up while I can, right?
Maybe I should come out there for opening day and say that I've actually been to Arlington Park, because I never have.
Or you can come back in, like, 6 months when it's a Starbucks and a Panera.
There's already a Starbucks right next to it.
Oh, dude, there can always be another Starbucks in Arlington Heights. Hey, Josh, for the record, Canterbury is only a 7-hour drive. If I pick you up, we can hit up Canterbury.
Oh, dude, I would be down. 10%
takeout.
Takeout on Epic 5. I've already decided that we're gonna have to do some Thursday night stuff on Canterbury. So Mark is excited thinking about Minnesota Breds on the turf.
I mean, are we going to get to cover Asanobia Downs when we get to midsummer stuff?
As long as there's no money involved, because
some Saskatchewan bread. I mean, how can
you and your honey hole things when money's involved is just never fair.
For somebody who enjoys inexpensive velocity, you would enjoy Asanobia Downs.
That you would, Josh.
All right, maybe I'll give it a try this year. But, all right. That's going to do it for us. We will we'll catch you guys on Discord. Buy a t-shirt on thewronglead.com. Check out if you guys need an ADW, we got an AM wager link in the bottom, and we'll catch you guys later.